19th council meeting for the town of Strathmore. We are reconvening at 7:08 p.m. We move now. We have no public hearing tonight, but we do have a public presentation. And just a little information for the people watching at home in the gallery who are here. Members of the public are welcome to provide comments regarding items on the agenda tonight. Please note that this is your time to let council know your thoughts on an item. Comments will not be taken from the gallery after this portion of the meeting concludes. While council welcomes public comments and questions, there is no debating during this section of the agenda. And I would like to ask you that if you do wish to speak, please raise your hand and I'll call you to the microphone. Before sharing your comments, please clearly state and spell your name for the record. I think you have a person who's going to speak on behalf of the group. You have 5 minutes to speak to the item on today's agenda. And as we want to hear from as many members of the public as possible, we ask that you try to be succinct with comments focused on presenting council with new information. So if you have the same information that has just been presented, we're looking for some new information. Also, before we get started, please be aware that a bell will ring at the 4-minute mark of your presentation, which will give you 1 minute to conclude your comments. If you are speaking at the microphone, there's a button there and it will light up in red so that your microphone is on. And I do understand that we have representatives here regarding item 9.1, petition intersection safety concerns at Westmount Drive and Westlake Bay. The petition portion of the presentation tonight is coming later on in the agenda. Safety is an important topic. We have thoroughly read your submission, and we anticipate there may be suggestions for further conversations with those impacted and our infrastructure team directly. And this is where we ask that the spokesperson come forward for the group that submitted the petition. And I believe Greg Wheeler is presenting tonight. No? Kenton Ziegler first. Okay, if you wouldn't mind coming up to the microphone and start.
Okay, red light, here we go. First of all, thank you, Your Worship and Council, for allowing us to be here today. I'm bringing regrets from our president, Arnie Johansson. He is wintering someplace much warmer than here, and he was instrumental in getting us moving on this little project. We did bring it forward as a petition, primarily because we didn't know one other way to really reach council. We've had correspondence in the past and weren't satisfied with the outcome. So after our annual meeting, it came up that let's just do this little petition thing. We got every person in our community to sign it, so we couldn't get 10% of the population of the town to sign this. It was just more important. Thank you for the time to be here. So I'm Kenton Ziegler, KentonZiegler, and I'm the owner of 147 Westlake Diamond Shores. It's formerly Mary Sites' place, so we overlook the lake there. So first of all, we don't think this is just we're not coming here with a problem. We're coming here with potential solutions, and we're very much open for dialogue to try and make this move forward. We know it's a concern, as you mentioned earlier. It's a concern for the town to be safety conscious, and I think we're very, very fortunate here that we haven't had an accident at this intersection, and I don't want to see that happen. Not only for us driving on the road, coming out, but people on Westmount. They're moving along there. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, good, I'm looking forward to getting into an accident. And it would be somebody hit on the driver's side of their vehicle, and a lot of elderly in the community, so I'd be a little bit concerned about that. So safety, we have a fairly elderly community, and there's been a lot of near misses. We say 40 plus in the community, but I'm 65 and I'm one of the youngest, so I'd argue that there's not a lot of 40-year-olds there. So we're concerned about the configuration. I'm not going to read from this is quite loud, from the resolution here, because you've read it all already, but it's the configuration, as you can see on the map there. It's quite curved there. when this community was established, that really wasn't an issue. There wasn't a lot of traffic, and people were a lot slower, and there's a considerably less movement along there. So I'm really encouraging everybody to be proactive here. Did I lose it? Am I on the mic? Okay. So we're finding, or we observe, that people are traveling at excessive speed along that road. I think 50 is a suggestion. I think people are going a lot faster. I'm just surprised, and I think people are treating it more as an on-ramp to the number one than a residential street. You know, you see the white fence there, let's just give her. We got to get to town. Now, Danielle's going to raise the speed to 120, 130, who knows, maybe they'll make up the speed on the number one, but don't make it in the residential areas. People are walking there, we have a lot of traffic there. There's been a lot changed. Val Busslinger, who's with me today, is one of the original residents, and 20 years ago, she said she could see the mountains from there, and cow pasture, probably the auction market as well. So you folks are well aware of what's happening to the west here. So, as you're well aware, the town's growing, and it's growing to the west. We're going to see more and more traffic along Westmount Drive there. So, one major concern we have, and we don't have children in school, but there is a school bus stop right near the entrance, and we're finding that impatient drivers are just can't wait for that bus to leave so we can just give her, because they're in a hurry to go to wherever they got to go. And I would just hate to see children involved in an accident there. So here comes the solutions part. Reduce the speed. Again, 50's just a suggestion. I don't know if you're looking at it as a town policy, but I would sure encourage it and make our intersection safer. Signage. We do have some signage there, but we really don't think it's sufficient. Perhaps we should look at some illuminated sign, some kind of a higher up on the pole where you can actually, or lower on the pole, I mean. At night, your lights don't even catch the sign that's there already. Maybe we can just look at moving that a little bit closer. Illumination, put a solar panel up there, get it to flash. I don't know what the options are, but there's obviously something we could do. And also, move it a couple poles closer, something just simple like that. We just would like to see some of that thing doing. One thing, the road markers. Currently, there's a center line, but it's totally worn out. You can't see it. Like, it's maybe just paint it. So, and I'm going to suggest rumble strips as well. You know, when you veer off the center line on the highway, your tires rumble a little bit, and if you're not on your cell phone, you can actually hear it, and you know, gets your attention. Maybe keep people off that sidewalk a little bit. They're crowding the curve as they come around. It's just like, let's pick it up. Let's get close to the curb. So. I thought of concrete barriers, but also I'm a realistic person, realizing full well that causes a problem for snow removal. So we got to do something that is compatible for the long haul. So anyway, I thought of, is that my bell? 5 minutes? Okay, or 4 minutes, okay. I've thought about a bike lane. There's an opportunity to run a bike path all the way from the entry of the green condos all the way to the end of Westmount there. We're starting to like riding bikes a lot, so. Another thing, install a crosswalk possibly. There's limited crossing spaces across a very major road there, so maybe we should look at that. And I have a solution for you. I know you're all elected to be fiscally responsible. Well, I got a way to make this work. All you need to do is set up a radar trap just to the west of our entry every morning for a week between 6:30 and 8:30, and you'll get enough revenue from tickets that you'll be able to pay off some of these suggestions. So it's revenue neutral, the way I see it, but all depends how many speeders you catch, because I know people are going a lot faster than that. Anyway, I brought a few people with me as support, and Greg Wheeler, Corinne Drydale, Val Busslinger, and Sharon Appleyard. So I brought some community members. It was signed by everybody, so it's not just my initiative, and thank you for your time. If you have any questions, we're here for you.
Thank you. Councillor Wiley.
Just a thank you. So I think we've all read your petition and thought about what you're saying, but I really appreciated your presentation and coming to us with solutions like you say too. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wiley. Councillor Brown.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming out and speaking with us. We did speak prior to the election, and I do appreciate you sort of outlining all this for council and your willingness to sort of bring attention to it. I want to say to all of the members in here, I actually agree that that corner is quite, it's a blind spot. And so I was just up there last week. I drive 40 around in town. That's what I do. And I came around the corner, it was dry and it was in the day, and someone pulled out in front of me and it was pretty close. Didn't honk my horn or anything, but it's a blind spot. And so even if you're obeying the law, you don't need a ticket. And I promise I was doing the speed limit and under it. But it is a blind corner. And so I do think something should be addressed. So I do appreciate you bringing that forward. Thank you very
And
much.
thank you for your courtesy. Yeah, that's really cool that you were able to slow down and respect that. 'Cause
Yeah. I'm just saying that even if you're not speeding, it can be a blind spot. And so I hope that we can do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. Any other questions? My only questions are, there have been no accidents at this time, correct?
That's correct. A number of near misses.
Okay, have there been any contacts with the RCMP concerning it as far as the near misses or drivers driving excessive speeds?
Yeah, I'm only been there a year and I only live there part-time, so I would have to defer to my
Okay.
fellow residents. But
Okay.
I
And,
don't believe it's been reported to the police, I guess.
Has your group been in contact with our administration staff as far as talking about this?
There has been letters written in
Letters
the past,
written.
and some minimal response from
Okay.
what I'm aware of. I'm, again, a little bit of limited
Okay.
experience here, but yes, there's been some inroads, and to be honest with you, that I hear this is like, we're not getting any response. So this is the next level that we could possibly come up with to be in front of council.
And we do have some options that we can consider and we'll discuss, I'm sure, as we go on. One of the things with the line painting is the province had municipalities, well, they went away from oil-based paints for quite a while, and so they switched to water-based, and those don't hold up. So I believe there's a move to allowing that in the future, so that's one thing that could be considered. But thank you for your presentation, and this is, again, the petition part is coming up later in the meeting under Business 9.1.
Okay, thank you for your time.
So thank you very much. Item 6, we have no delegations. We did have, oh, Greg Wheeler, did you want to speak? Sure.
Yes, hi. I'm Greg Wheeler, so I don't know if I have to spell it still. G-R-E-G. You have it. Okay, good, thanks. Just to give you a bit of background history here. Well, first of all, Kenton presented the main points for this evening that we were hoping to bring forward. And of course, we weren't aware of all the petition regulations, so we apologize for not being through with that. But just to give you a bit of background, I moved into Diamond Shore Villas in 2000 and joined the condo board in 2001. At that time, there were residents that brought forward their concerns about that intersection, and it was just getting harder and harder, right, to pull out onto West Mount Drive. So at that time, I volunteered to contact the town, and I'd have to go back, but I know it was an initial phone call and then some emails, and just to kind of look at what could be done. So in 2021, 2022, there was a bit of correspondence back and forth. I understand that a peace officer visited our spot, took a look, and we were also told at that time the speed limit couldn't be lowered, right? There were no real suggestions brought forward for calming measures of that area. But we were able to get a 50-kilometer sign installed on a street lamp, which was great. There wasn't one on that whole curve at all. And we were hoping the hidden intersection sign would be lowered a bit. It seems quite high. It's hard to see. It's not, you can miss it very easily. They weren't able to do that, and I can't remember the reason, but I know there's a no parking sign below it, and maybe they couldn't lower both to meet a certain standard or regulation. We were also told there would be a speed monitoring board put up, right, to monitor traffic for about a 2-month period. Unfortunately, it was only there about a week. And the report that I did receive back from that at the time showed there were about 3 incidents of people going excessively over 50 kilometers. But it was winter time. We had a lot of snow, right? There's a lot of, people were driving slower anyway. And it was only there that 1 week. So it was kind of dismissed at the time, but we said, victory, we have a new sign, a 50-kilometer sign. That's something. So then kind of left it at that. Last year, I wrote online the Citizen Action Communication Form, and it was sort of looked at again, but no real solutions kind of came out of that. So this is sort of the third kick at the can here. We're hoping that you'll consider what was brought forward by Kenton tonight, all of our concerns, and possible solutions. And again, traffic just seems to be increasing like crazy. Before I came here this evening, I just finished an early supper. My unit backs onto Westmount Drive, and zip, 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 right? Three trucks just flying. It was like they were racing each other around that corner right there. And that's something, unfortunately, we're seeing all too often at different times of the day. So I just thought if you wanted that background, I would provide that tonight. Okay.
Thank you. CAO Scoble, could I ask you a quick question? Are we allowed to use radar speed cameras in town anymore?
Well, you can do normal radar, but you can't do photo radar.
Thank you. Councillor Wiley.
Yeah, just thanks again. And whatever comes out of tonight, just know that you can directly reach out to me too. So you've got a contact. So just continue to email me if you do continue to have concerns. But I think we're going to put forward a motion tonight and see how it goes, and keep in touch regardless of what happens.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We move now to delegations. We don't have delegations, but moving on to item 7, consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that councillors would like to see removed and discussed individually? Seeing and hearing none, Councillor Wiley.
I move that council adopt the recommendations of the following agenda reports by an omnibus motion. Just for the folks leaving, this item does come up on the agenda again. This item does come up on the agenda again in about 5 minutes. Your item comes up. No, really, like in 90 seconds. Let me return. I move that council adopt the recommendations of the following agenda reports by an omnibus motion. 8.1, regular council meeting minutes, November 5th. 8.2, special council meeting minutes, April 6th. 12.1, congratulations from the Minister of Municipal Affairs. 12.2, congratulations from Olds College.
Thank you for that motion. All in favor? And that motion is carried. And we do now move to item 9, business, 9.1, petition, intersection safety concerns, Westmount Drive and Westlake Bay. Jonathan?
All right, thank you, Worshiping Councils. Before you today is a petition regarding intersection safety concerns at Westmount Drive and Westlake Bay. Just a little bit of background. Once a petition is received by the town CAO must make a declaration to council on whether the petition is sufficient or insufficient within 45 days of the petition being filed. This is pursuant to Section 226 of the Municipal Government Act. The petition was received by the town on October 22nd. The petition includes 31 signatures. For a petition to be deemed sufficient, it must meet all of the requirements laid out in sections 222 to 226 of the Municipal Government Act. In reviewing the petition for sufficiency, the following was noted. Signatures were not witnessed. Signatures were not dated. The petition did not contain additional contact information for each signature. The petition did not have each page containing an identical statement of the purpose of the petition, and the petition was not signed by 10% of the population of Strathmore. For these reasons, the petition has been declared insufficient pursuant to sections 226, subsection 3 of the MGA. Council is not required to take any notice of the petition. However, you will note in your agenda packet there are alternative motions for council to consider, one of which is to direct administration to engage in a dialogue with the group responsible for the petition. This concludes my presentation. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Jonathan. Councillor Wiley?
Yeah, just first a question for administration through the mayor. I believe, CAO, you've already even started brainstorming some sort of type of traffic mitigation or traffic calming that could occur at that intersection. Do you just want to share some of the ideas you had or anything you were sharing with us earlier?
Through the chair, so I asked the town engineer to take a look at the situation here relative to our engineering standards, the town's engineering standards, as well as the Transportation Advisory Council guidelines. Those are the transportation engineering guidelines used across Canada. The cross section is sufficient. It's actually, the road cross section is actually wider than, and it's more generous than our minimum standards. The radius of curvature is within the TAC guidelines. The sight distance is within the recommended guidelines. The stopping distance is within the recommended guidelines. The sign height is within the recommended guidelines. So there's really nothing outstanding here. There's no deficiencies is what I'm saying. I asked for a report from the RCMP and the MES, Municipal Enforcement. Neither agency has any record of any collisions on file currently or in the past. So if council wanted to do something, I should also comment, we did a traffic study in July of 2019. The average speed was 53.4 kilometers and the average daily traffic was 2,258 vehicles in both directions. And December 2024, we had a speed study done and it was an average speed of 41.6 kilometers an hour and an average daily traffic of 1866. That's normal, the difference between summer and winter. And it's also very comparable to speed studies throughout the town. Of course, there are always outliers. The last council was briefed on Park Lane, for example. We've seen occurrences of 110 kilometers an hour at 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Maybe somebody was late for church or something, but you know, we can't use photo radar anymore. So, you know, at this point, there's no deficiencies, but if council wanted to look at additional engineering controls or administrative controls, engineering controls are more effective. That is things like curb extensions. You know, administrative controls are a sign, and you know, not everybody follows the speed limit that's posted, of course. So there are some options that you could look at. In the proposed budget this year is $150,000 for traffic calming, and that's not assigned. I mean, there are some other concerns that have been mentioned on Centennial and Park Lane, but you know, if council was to approve that, we could look at some of that money, and maybe it's not this year on Westmount, maybe it's next year if council decides to adopt this as a program in the longer term. The mayor already touched on the line painting, and that we can probably paint within budget next year at, you know, with the new oil-based paint, and then we don't have to keep redoing it every year after that. So we could look at some additional painting for lane delineation along the curb side. But yeah, there's a full bevy of things we could look at, like curb extensions and things like that, if council so wished. But again, what administration is saying tonight, we don't see any deficiencies that need addressing. So if council felt it wanted to do something above and beyond the normal standards, that's your purview.
Thank you. Councillor Wiley?
Yeah, so what I'm hearing you saying is there's some very short-term, inexpensive things we could do in the next year with this year's budget, because definitely Park Lane and Centennial are higher priorities. However, in the future years, there's more. I am prepared with a motion. I did notify council I was going to make this earlier, so this one isn't a surprise, but it's slightly different than in our agenda package. And I forgot to write down what page number it's on, but it was one of the alternate motions available in our agenda package. So here it is. I move that council direct administration to engage in dialogue with the Diamond Shore president or delegates on the current situation or infrastructure and future town plans and potential mitigations. And I'd like to speak to that. I think it's really important that we listen to the citizens when they come in. I think for every time we have a small group come in, they represent dozens of people at home. I've also experienced that road, people move quite quickly down, and maybe the average speed is only 53. but I think that accounts for people like Councillor Brown going 40, but the rest of traffic is clearly, it seems to be hitting 60. So I would like to see some short-term mitigation there, and in the long term, maybe some more expensive depending on how that progresses. So I would really like to direct our administration to just begin by meeting with the president and delegates, and then continuing to keep us informed as council on what is progress, and for the individuals at home to also keep in touch with us individual councillors too.
Thank you. And we do have a motion on the floor, so we can have discussion now. Councillor Wegener and then Councillor Brown.
Again, thank you for that. And Kenton, we talked that one night at the pizza place. I will be supporting this motion, and we'll see what progresses in the future. I live kind of in that area, and I have seen it. So I do appreciate your guys' petition, even though it was deemed insufficient. I do appreciate the effort put into that. That being said, this may bring on an onslaught of petitions and that, but you know what? We'll deal with it when we come. So again, thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you, Councillor Wegener. Councillor Brown, then Councillor Chisholm.
Yes, I just want to state for the record that I will be supporting this motion as well. Having had a petition that in the past that was deemed insufficient, I do recognize the need for citizens to rally and get information to council. So I greatly appreciate the effort that took from you, and also the time that you've taken to present your case. I do believe that the town can do more to sort of make peaceful traffic situations. So I believe that that will be something that we will discuss when we're doing our 4-year planning. I do have to say that I do really appreciate it, and we will work with the CAO and the administration to see what we can do for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. Councillor Chisholm.
Good evening. Thanks for coming. I will also be supporting the motion, and in addition to what everyone was saying, culturally we need to enhance how we do things around here, and a lot of what I heard is about speeding, and that we got rules around speeding, and it's upon us to hold us accountable to stay within those rules. So very timely, and thank you for making a presentation.
Thank you, Councillor Chisholm. Councillor Langmaid.
Thank you, Worship, since we're all taking turns here. Again, just wanted to thank you for coming in, and also apologize that it took this long and this amount of effort to get in front of us, but I'm very glad that you're here. This is an easy one for us to consider tonight, and for me, an easy decision to make. I'm hopeful that through this dialogue that you'll have with our administration and the potential for this traffic calming funding to come through with this budget, we'll be able to prioritize this intersection, and hopefully in the near future begin to make some improvements that you'll be able to feel a little safer in our community. So thanks again for coming, and I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Councillor Langmaid. Councillor Hyde.
I'll echo the sentiments of my colleagues here. Thank you very much for coming out. We definitely have some work to do on your stretch of street, as well as around our community. So I look forward to seeing what this administration and council can work together to accomplish. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be supporting the motion as well. I think our administration has already come up with some ideas, and with it coming to our budgeting process this next, I believe tomorrow we start budgeting in serious. So we are looking at some traffic money to help with certain roadways, and as CAO Scoble said, there could definitely be some funds to help us with the short term, and especially since we can go back to oil painting, hopefully we can address the line that's on that roadway as well. So I will be supporting this. If there is no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? None? Motion is carried. Thank you, everyone. We move now to item 10, bylaws. And we're dealing with Water Administration Bylaw number 25-22. Good evening, Riley, and welcome.
Good evening, Your Worship and members of council. The bylaw before you is an update to our Water Administration bylaw from 2020, which included minor amendments in 21 and 22, with this being the first full update since that 2020 version. The changes in the bylaw are mostly housekeeping in nature to reflect our current service levels provided by the town and to add some clarity to definitions, practices, etc. Major changes from the last iteration of the bylaw include clarity on billing responsibility of property owners in relation to meter repairs and fixes, clarity on utility bills being transferred to property tax rolls for non-payments, as well as removal of references to the past practice of producing final notice letters and disconnection tags on non-payment of utility bills as well. And we also added some clarity on penalty definitions. In terms of today, administration is recommending holding all 3 readings of the bylaw or deferring to the committee of the whole for further discussion if council would like to see changes. That's all I really had, Your Worship. Do you or any members of council have any questions for me?
Thank you, Riley. Are there any questions from councillors? Councillor Langmaid.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is maybe less of a question and more of just, well, it's a bit of a question. So looking here, what brought this to my attention was that the due date for your utility bill means the day before penalties are applied, and it's the last day of every month. Currently, if you pay your utility bill online on the last day of the month, you also have to pay next month's utility bill, and there is no way to separate that. And I just wanted to raise it as an issue because I've been caught by it a number of times, and I've been able to make it work in my budget, but for someone who is on a tight budget, it is not always viable to pay both of your utility bills on the same day, and it can be a real crunch. So especially if you're not actually late. So if that's something that we could maybe take away as just a note for improvement, and that maybe we could find a way to make that so that doesn't happen anymore. I know that it's not directly related to this bylaw, but it's related to the due date bit because people are getting tagged when they're not overdue.
Through the CAO, yes. So we're considering that as well. When we are bringing the next iteration of the service level inventory back to council, we will discuss that, including potentially moving the billing dates to the start of the month from the previous month as an option to mitigate that as well. But thank you.
Other questions? Councillor Wiley.
Section 4.1. My question was, the charges begin at the moment the meter is released, picked up, even if it remains uninstalled. What's the advantage to that as opposed to having the charges beginning when the meter is installed or when the meter is first turned on?
Through the chair, I suppose it's a control issue isn't the right way to say it, but we know when it's picked up kind of thing for clarity kind of thing. There's not necessarily a notification on our end when it starts getting used. So we are working on our process flows as that as well. There, with the new growth in Strathmore as well, developers are asking for water meters in abundance right now as well with new construction. So I think the way we have been doing it is just because we know when it's physically been picked up versus not necessarily being notified when the billing starts until we see the usage at the end of the month.
Yeah, that answers it.
Councillor Brown.
I had a question regarding section 4.3. The water consumed, so where it says every customer or property owner is responsible for all water consumed on the premise, regardless of whether the water consumption was registered by the meter. If there's a leakage, for example, of a water inlet to a house, and that leakage is prior to the meter, is the owner still responsible?
Prior to the meter, the town's responsible for it. Once it's after the meter, the resident or the business is responsible for it.
Okay, so so I guess this would just be looking at perhaps a malfunctioning meter?
Potentially, or an issue at the meter site as well. But the easy way to tell if it went through the meter is it does show the statistics on our software if it did go through the meter, correct?
So what if the meter itself were leaking?
through the chair, sorry, I didn't answer the last one through the chair. If a meter itself is leaking, we're responsible for it. The town is responsible if there's a issue with the actual meter itself. If it's the connections, anything like that, the resident, the taxpayer is responsible for it. But yeah, if it's an actual malfunction meter, we are responsible for getting it replaced, things like that, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. Councillor Wiley?
This question's just not so much for me, but just for the general public at home to help them understand. When I was door knocking, I had at least 2 residents ask, why do snowbirds have to keep paying charges? Why is their water bill so high, even if they're not accumulating any actual water? I've done a little bit of research. I've got 5 reasons why it's good that we continue to charge for water year-round, regardless of when you're in the house. I also want to say that this policy is almost identical to the other towns in Alberta that I've looked into. But just for the administration, through the chair, just to administration, could they help the public at home understand why municipalities continue to charge fees on people who are gone for a prolonged absence?
Well, the short answer is your consumption charge is for the water you use. So if you're not using water, you're not charged for it. The fixed charges are for the administration of the system, but mainly for the capital infrastructure of the system. So if we have a water line from Calgary that is infrastructure. We have a reservoir which we're upgrading right now at capital cost. We're decommissioning the Brentwood Reservoir, which is a capital cost, and then there's all the distribution pipes from the reservoir. So we all pay a share of that capital cost for that infrastructure, whether you're using water or not.
Thank you, CAO Scoville. Councillor Wiley?
Yeah, and I looked up, like, in additionally to that, we still have to keep the pressure up, and we still have to take care of our storage and our pumps, and of course maintaining our water treatment capacity. So I noticed that's in this policy, and so, or bylaw, sorry, and I just wanted to make sure that it was clear to people at home why I would be supporting this, even though that's a conversation that's come up with other residents.
Thank you for that. Councillor Wegener?
I'm ready with the motion.
Thank you.
I move that council give first reading to bylaw number 2522, being the Water Administration Bylaw.
Thank you. All in favor? That motion is carried. Councillor Wegener?
Ready for another one. I move that council give second reading to bylaw number 25-22, being the Water Administration Bylaw.
Thank you for that motion. And now that we have a motion for second reading, is there discussion or debate on that motion? Councillor Wiley?
Yeah, I'm quite confident in supporting multiple readings tonight. I don't love doing multiple readings in one evening, but this one, it seems to me just so similar to other administrative bylaws across Alberta. And what I wrote down is it gives our town the tools it needs to run utilities responsibly. And after doing a careful reading of this, I don't see in any way that it impedes our residents' freedoms, other than just like the most obvious things that we need in order to administer water to this town. So I am perfectly happy doing multiple readings tonight.
Thank you. Any further discussion on that motion? All in favor? That motion is carried. Councillor Wegener?
I move that council give unanimous consent to proceed with third and final reading of the bylaw number 25-22, being the Water Administration Bylaw.
Thank you for that motion. All in favor? That motion is carried. And Councillor Langmaid.
Do you want the last one, Richard? All right. I'd like to move that council give third and final reading to bylaw number 25-22, being the Water Administration Bylaw.
Thank you. All in favor? That motion is also carried. We move now to item 10.2, ATIA bylaw number 25-24. Thank you, Riley.
Good evening, Your Worship and Council.
Good evening, Claudette, and welcome.
Thank you. On June the 11th, 2025, the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act was repealed and was replaced with 2 separate acts and regulations, which were the Access to Information Act and the Protection of Privacy Act. The Access to Information Act is known as ATIA, and the Protection of Privacy Act is known as POPA. The Access to Information Act and the Protection of Privacy Act apply to all public bodies in Alberta and governs the protection and privacy related to personal information in the custody or under the control of the Alberta public bodies. So as per Section 98 of the Access to Information Act, a local public body bylaw or other legal instrument by which the local public body acts must designate a person or group of persons as the head of the local public body for the purposes of this act, and may set any fees the local public body requires to be paid under Section 96, must not exceed the fees provided for the regulation. So all in all, I'm here tonight. It's basically another housekeeping item to assign an ATI, ATI head, and to ensure that our fees are in the fees schedule.
Thank you, Claudette. Are there any questions for Claudette? Seeing none, then we're looking for the first of a few motions. Councillor Langmaid.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move that council give first reading to bylaw number 25-24, being the Access to Information Act, ATIA bylaw.
Thank you for the motion. All in favor? That motion is carried. Councillor Wiley.
Yeah, I'll go for it. The council gives second reading to bylaw number 2524, being the Access to Information, ATIA bylaw.
Thank you for that. Now that we have a motion for second reading on the floor, is there debate or discussion? Councillor Wiley.
Yeah, once again, I don't mind supporting multiple readings in a night. Particularly, this one has come down to us from on high. The province of Alberta has created this new act, two new acts. And right from the organizational minutes, in our agenda here, the administration has written, these acts strike a balance between transparency and confidentiality required to ensure the effective operation of government. There are the strictest penalties in Canada for misuse of Albertans' personal information and supports more effective delivery or programs and services. The long and the short of it is this is something we need to bring into our municipality, and that this is just a housekeeping, as Claudette has said. So I will be supporting my motion.
Thank you. Councillor Chisholm.
Hi, Claudette. In addition, I would support the motion as well. I understand setting up, this is a regime and a protocol that we need to do to align with provincial legislation. And I know that the fines and non-compliance are significant. So I will be supporting.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion after second reading? All in favor? That motion is carried. Councillor Regener.
I move that council give unanimous consent to proceed with third and final reading of bylaw number bylaw 25-24, being the Access to Information Act, ATIA bylaw.
Thank you. All in favor? That motion is carried. And one final motion from Councillor Wegener.
I move that council give third and final reading to bylaw number 25-24, being the Access to Information Act, ATIA bylaw.
Thank you, Councillor Wegener. All in favor? That motion is also carried. We move now to item 11, Councillor Information Inquiries. 11.1, questions between councillors and council statements. Do any councillors have any questions for fellow councillors or wish to make any statements? This one always frightened me. We're okay now. 11.2, none? Yes, Councillor Wegener?
Again, just a statement. Nothing outrageous or anything. So, I just wanted to, as you guys know, I'm part of the Wheatland Kings junior hockey team. I've been a volunteer with them since day one. I believe it's December 6th. The league is hosting the All-Star game here in Strathmore. I believe it's December 6th is the date. So I'm just putting that out there. There'll be members from all 18 teams or 14 teams that are in the league, and they will be converging on Strathmore for an evening of hockey. So little plug for the team I volunteer with, that the All-Star game is coming up, but also the regular season games are quite exciting, and we do have a good team this year.
Thank you, and I shouldn't have been in a rush because I do have a council statement too, and nobody should be frightened either. Starting tomorrow and Friday, 104.5 at Shoppers Drug Mart is having a toy drive and non-perishable food items, as well as hygiene items for the Christmas Hamper Society. So if anyone is free at 11 o'clock onwards, feel free to pop by. I'll be there tomorrow at 11. I believe Councillor Langmaid is confirmed for that. So people at home, if you are watching, and I'm not sure why, but if you are home watching, they could use a lot of toy items and also a lot of hygiene items. So if you have some time and some extra money and you want to help people out who are in a very needy situation, please think about coming down to Shoppers Drug Mart tomorrow starting at 11 a.m. You'll be able to hang out with the mayor and Councillor Langmaid and any other councillor who decides to show up and have time for that. That would be awesome. Any other council statements or things? Councillor Langmaid.
Oh, just to add on to that, if you go on to the Strathmore and Wheatland County Christmas Hamper Society, they have posted a wish list of the items that they're looking for this year and needing the most.
Thank you. Councillor Wegener and then Councillor Brown.
And adding on to that as well, I will be there at 5 o'clock tomorrow. And one of the big items they are looking for, and that was brought up at our meeting the other night, is Lego. So I've got my stack of Lego that I will be, if I decide to give it and not keep it, I will be donating that.
Councillor Brown.
Yeah, I was going to say about the Lego as well, but thank you for bringing that up, Councillor Wagner. They also do accept gift cards as well. It's a very good gift. That way they can just purchase what they need to for the kids. So I will be there. It does run till 7 p.m. as well. I plan to be there on Thursday night and likely on Friday night. Thank you.
Thank you for that. That brings us to 11.2 board and committee reports. Do we have any tonight? I don't believe we have yet. Okay, 11.3 question and answer period. Do any councillors have any questions for administration? I could see a little shudder of fear there. 11.4, Jonathan, do we have any administrative inquiries tonight? No, that's wonderful. 11.5, notices of motion. I didn't see any, which brings us to adjournment, and I will adjourn the meeting at